Hello, AGS3. So guys, I am, number one, I hope that quiz that you just took was just fabulous. I will grade those and get those back to you on Monday. I just kind of want to know where you guys are at with all of this stuff. In the meantime, I want you to turn to section 3.4 in your books, and just the very, very first thing, so it says polynomial connections. And I want us to work through just a couple of the first graphs. So this is number one. So it gives you 5 graphs to start with, and then it says, okay, hey, f of x plus g of x. So I drew, very poorly, I drew these axes on here just to kind of give myself an idea of where the graph is. So the directions say, use the graphs above to complete problems 1 through 9. For each question, lightly sketch the graph of each function, and then on the same set of axes, graph the solution. So this is asking us to do f of x plus g of x. So I'm going to look back up at the graphs above this question, right at the beginning of 3.4. And the very first graph is f of x. So if you'll notice, f of x crosses the y-axis at -3, so I'm going to put a spot right there. And then it crosses the x-axis at +3, so I'm going to put a spot right there. And I am going to try my darndest to connect all of that with a straight line. Well, kind of. Okay, that's not too bad. So you see it crosses at several cross, what do you call them, cross hatches, where the graph creates cross. So I have a lot of specific points here. So that is f of x. I'm going to go ahead and write f of x, because you should always label your lines just to make sure you know what you're talking about. And then g of x is the next one over. So that one crosses the y-axis at +2. So I'm going to put a little point at +2. And then it crosses the x-axis at -2, so I'm going to put a point there. And really, to make a line, I only need 2 points. So I'm going to connect that. That wasn't bad for a straight line. Not bad at all. And again, these have a lot of very defined points, which is great. That's what I want. And then this is g of x. So f of x plus g of x. So y'all, please remember that when you see f of x, that means the function at the input x. So this is the same thing as basically saying y. So y equals the function when I input this x. So I have the y, the solution of one equation plus the solution of another equation. So this is super easy. What I'm going to do here, and we've done this before, so hopefully this isn't brand new to you. To do f of x plus g of x, I'm just going to pick some x values and plug it in. So let's pick an x value. Let's start at, I don't know, x equals, let's just start at 0. Let's keep it real. So f of 0 plus g of 0. So when the x is 0, go to where x is 0, which is right at the origin. What is the result of that? What is the y value of the f of x function? You will notice that when x is 0, right here, ta-da, the f of x is equal to -3. So I'm just going to put that value as -3 right there. Then when x is 0, what is the value of g? What is the y value of g when x is 0? That is that point right up there. What is the y value right there? That is a +2. So when I'm adding these two functions, I'm adding the results when the input is 0, which is -3 plus 2. So that is -1. So that means when x equals 0, f of 0 plus g of 0 is -1. Y is -1. So my point there would be 0, comma, -1, like so. So I'm going to go put that on the graph. Let's use purple. Should we use purple? Let's use purple. So 0, comma, -1, that is right there. All right, let's do another one. What point shall we use? What is my x value equal to? Let's do f of 3. Let's do f of 3. F of 3 plus g of 3. So I'm looking what is going to be the output when my input is 3. So I'm just going to remind you that is your input. That one right there and that one right there. So I'm looking for the output. So let's go back to our graph. For the f function, when I input 3, what is the y value? Here's f right here. When I input 3, hot dog. There's my function right there. What is the y value? The y value, my friends, is 0. For g, when I input 3, what is the y value I get? There it is right there. It's 0. Nope, sorry, not 0. It's 3, comma, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Positive 5. So when I add those together, I get 5. So let me write this out. When x is equal to 3, the sum of those two functions is equal to 5. So my ordered pair would be 3, comma, 5. So let me go ahead and graph that. Let me get back to my purple. So 3, comma, 5 is right over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's right there. It's on top of this guy. Ta-da! Okay, so remember, you really only need 2 points to make a line. If you wanted to do a third one, let's do a third one, just because, you know, we want to, and we're good mathematicians. Let's do an input of, let's do a negative number, -2. So I'm going to say f of -2 plus g of -2. So guys, when f is -2, or sorry, when x is -2, my input is -2, where is f at? F is way down here. So when x is -2, my output is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -5. And then when -2 for x, what is g? Let's go find that. -2, here's my g function right there. G is 0. So when I add the two of those, I get -5. So let me write out what that means. That means when x is -2, the y value of the sum is -5. So my ordered pair would be -2, comma, -5. So let's graph that real quick. -2, -5. It's going to be right on top of that guy right there. Shazam, let's see if we can get a nice straight line. Oh, golly. Well, pretend that's straight. So guys, that would be my solution of f of x plus g of x. That is what I want you to do. So sketch a graph of the two lines that they give you. Here they give you f of x and g of x. Sketch both of those. Then use the graph to find outputs. Okay, I am going to skip over to number 3. So why don't you try number 2 real quick, see what that looks like, and then move over to number 3. Woo! Okay, I'm over at number 3. So I'm going to do the same thing again, where I'm going to sketch in the two graphs. So f of x, I'm going to do that one in red. So f of x started at y had a value of -3, so I'm going to start right there, and then it crossed the x-axis at +3, and I'm going to try to create a nice straight line through there. That's kind of straight-ish. That's not right at all. Bear with me. Let me try that again. Good. There we go, better. Okay, so that is f of x right there. And then let's do m of x next. I'm going to do that one in blue. So m of x is a nice handy-dandy parabola. So I'm just going to plot some points. So it started at the origin, and then it crosses at 1, 1. So just like your standard y equals x squared, and then 2, 4. So it looks something like that. Now, this one is interesting because it only crosses the graph like at specific points, only in a few points. Whereas the line f of x crosses at a lot of different points. So we're going to have to be strategic in choosing our points that we're using to add these. So remember, x is the input, and then f of x or m of x is the y, the output that we get. So we're trying to find a line or a graph that represents f of x plus m of x. So let's choose the x values where the parabola, the quadratic function, has points. So let's start with -2. So f of -2 plus m of -2. So I'm going to plug in my x value, -2, and see what the solution is when I add these two together. So let's go over to -2 and let's find out what f is doing. So -2, here is f at -2. What is the value of y for the f value? What is the value of y? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is -5. When I plug in -2 for x, I get -5 for f of x. Now let's see what is happening for my m, the function m of x. When I go over to -2, that is +4. So when I add those together, I get -1. So what that means is when x is -2, the sum of f of x and m of x is equal to -1. So my ordered pair is -2, comma, -1. So let me go put that on the graph. Let's use purple for our sum. So -2, comma, -1 is going to be right there. Shazam. Okay, let's do -1. F of -1 plus m of -1. So at -1, let's go over to -1. Let's find our f. Here is -1 right there. What is the y value right there, y'all? So I go over to -1, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is -4. And then for m, when I go over to -1, what's the value of m? You are correct if you said +1, because it is right there. So -4 plus 1 is, in fact, -3. So that means when x is -1, the y value for the sum is -3. So the ordered pair is -1, comma, -3. Let's go put that on our graph. -1, -3, that is right there. Okay, I'm excited. We've got 2 points. I'm not going to connect them yet because I don't know what shape it's going to make because I'm adding a parabola and a line. So what shape is that going to make? I don't know. Let's find out. So now let's try f of 0 since I've got that point too. So f of 0 and m of 0. So at f of 0, here's f of 0 right here. It is -3. And m of 0, when the input is 0, m happens right here at 0, so -3 plus 0 is -3. So when x equals 0, the y value of the sum is equal to -3. Okay, so that means my ordered pair is going to be 0, comma, -3. So let's graph that. That's right there. All right, interesting. So let's move over. We're going to do 2 more. Let's do 1 and 2. So I'm going to scoot over here to the left side. So f of 1 plus m of 1. So when I plug in 1 for x, what is my value for f? It is right there, and that is -2. That's the y value when I plug in 1. When I plug in 1 to the m, that's what I get way up there. That is a +1. So -2 plus 1 is -1. So that means when x is 1, the y value of the sum of those is y equals -1. So my ordered pair is 1, -1. So let's put that on the graph. That is right there. So what kind of shape do you think this is about to make? I'm very interested in this. Let's see what the last one gives us. So f of 2. F of 2 plus m of 2. So at x equals 2, I'm going to go on over. X equals 2. F is right here at -1. When I put in 2 for m, I end up here, which is a +4, which is 3. So that means when x equals 2, y is 3. So my ordered pair for the sum is going to be 2, comma 3. So let's plug that in, 2, comma 3. So guys, what kind of shape do you think this is going to make? I think it's going to make a parabola. Oh, let me try that again. I think it's, pretend that's a nice shape. It's going to make a parabola. So that purple guy is the sum of f of x and m of x. We're just taking our y values and adding them together. Okay, if you have a question, if you have no idea what I'm doing, I'm going to encourage you to pause and then check in with your neighbors. If your neighbors have no idea, raise your hand and ask the sub to come over because she knows this stuff and she said she would be more than willing to help you out. Okay? All right. I am going to move on next to talking just a little bit about multiplying polynomials. Please finish 1 through 9 in section 3.4. No, actually do 1 through 10. Go ahead and do 1 through 10. Talk about 10. I will be checking this next class, so please make sure that you're doing it. Yeah. Okay, so finish 1 through 10, and then you'll do ready. You've already done ready. You'll do set and go. I'm going to talk about some problems in set. All right, rock and roll. Okay, guys, the last thing I want to talk about is something that might come up when you're doing set on section 3.4, which is part of your homework. And that is when you're multiplying polynomials. So this is actually pretty easy and hopefully something that you have done already. But I just want to give you a quick reminder about it. So if you were multiplying two polynomials, what I like to do is I like to make a box. I have seen, well, let me finish making the box and then I'll talk more about this. So I'm going to put one term, or one expression rather, on top and the other expression on the side. And I'm going to give everybody its own row and its own column, like so. So what I have seen people do is they'll say, oh, I'm just going to multiply like, okay, x squared times x, and then x squared times 3, and then I'm going to do 3x times x, and 3x plus 3, and then I'm going to do negative 5 times x and negative 5 times 3. That's all well and good if you want to do it that way. Sometimes I lose my place when I'm doing that, which is why I like to use the box, which is what I have here. So on the box, what I'm doing is I'm taking the top and the side and I'm multiplying them by each other. So, for example, on the top left-hand corner, I've got x squared and x. So x squared times x is x cubed. Then I have x squared again times 3. X squared times 3 is 3x squared. So I filled in that column. Now let's scoot over to 3x. I've got 3x times x, which is 3x squared. And then I've got 3x again times 3, which is 9x. And then finally, I've got negative 5 times x, which is just negative 5x. And then negative 5 again times positive 3, which is negative 15. So, step 1, multiply. Step 2 starts with a C and ends with combine like terms. Does anybody know what that might be? Good, excellent. It is, in fact, combine like terms. So let's identify what like terms we have going on in here. I have, let's see, any x cubes, any other x cubes? You know, guys, I don't think so. I think that's the only x cube. So that's going to just come down and hang out by itself. Hey. Let's look at what else we've got. I've got a 3x squared and then another 3x squared. Remember, like terms have to have the same variable and the same exponent, so those have both. If I have 3x squareds up there and 3x squareds down there, how many x squareds do I have in total? If you are saying 6x squareds, you are in fact correct. Okay, what else have we got in here? We have got negative 5x and a positive 9x. Those both have the same variable and the same exponent. So that seems like a match. So negative 5 plus 9 is going to be a positive 4x. And then I have that fancy little negative 15 just hanging out by itself. So y'all, can I combine any more of these like terms? If you said no, you're right, I can't. This is as simple as I can get. Okay, so what I'd like for you to do, if you haven't done it already, like I said before, finish 1 through 10 on 3.4, just like in the main part of the book, and then do ready, set, and go. You've already done ready for the warm-up yesterday, so do set and go. I will be checking this when I get back. There will be treats for those of you who finish, so please make sure that you're working on this. If you have trouble with anything, talk to your neighbors, or talk to the substitute, because she knows this stuff. Okay, y'all, I'm sorry not to be there today. I miss your shining faces. Have a delightful weekend. I will see you on Monday. Work hard today. You can do it. Rock and roll and math.